1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1 equals 9. If this is the sum of the seeds you faced in the NBA playoffs on your path to a championship, expect people to make the claim that you had the hardest path to a ring in NBA history. But when you fall short simply because you're outmatched by a team that's been the best all year, you'll be known as a Cinderella story, just without the storybook ending. Conversely, 8 plus 4 plus 7 plus 8 equals 27. Now, if this is the sum of the seeds you faced in the NBA playoffs on your path to a championship, expect people to make the claim that you had the easiest path to a ring in NBA history. The internet. It's a place that'll kick you when you're down and try to tear you down when you're up. It's not a place where you can have nice things, even if you earned them. And the Denver Nuggets are not exempt from this conversation. So, did they really just win the real Mickey Mouse ring? In 1984, the NBA playoffs were expanded from 12 to 16 teams, eliminating the first-round bye that existed for the top seeds, meaning that every team participated in first-round action regardless of seeding. The first round was a best-of-5 series until 2003, when it was extended to best-of-7. The 16-team playoff format certainly presents an uphill battle for the lower-seeded teams, but if we've witnessed anything with the 2023 Miami Heat, it's that the upset can be pulled off at least 3 times out of 4. In the case of the 1 seed, this playoff format gives them the best chance to reach the finals with home court advantage all the way throughout their side of the bracket. And if upsets happen beneath the 1 seed, it only benefits them further. Case in point, the 2023 Denver Nuggets. So let's begin to see what the numbers have to say about Denver's road to their first championship in franchise history. Starting with seeding only, their opponents in the 8-seed Timberwolves, 4-seed Suns, 7-seed Lakers, and 8-seed Heat would rank them 39th out of the 39 champions since 1984 in terms of strength of opponent's seed. Dead last. But hey, if you're a 1 seed and you end up facing 2 8 seeds in your playoff run, being near or at the bottom of this list is practically unavoidable. Just ask the 1999 Spurs, the only other number 1 seed to face 2 8 seeds in their run to a championship, and fittingly, they dispatched of their finals opponent in 5 games just like Denver. Conversely, near the top of this chart in terms of strength of opponent's seed are the 2004 Pistons, who defeated a number 6, 2, 1, and 2, the 2002 Lakers, who took down a 6, 2, 1, and 1, and the 95 Rockets, who somehow defeated a number 3, a number 2, a number 1, and then another number 1 on their path to the hardest championship in NBA history in terms of strength of opponent's seed. And I want to make a quick mention. A lot of work was done to make this video a reality. So if you like it and you actually like it, there's a subscribe and like button down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. It would really help me out a lot. And you know what? If you want to support the channel further, all right, let's pause for a quick shout out to Rakuten, who is not sponsoring this video, by the way. They're just the #1 option for cash back with online shopping. I use Rakuten, whether it's through the website or the app, every time I shop online, and I have a link in the description down below. Now, I'm completely transparent. This is an affiliate link. I will get credit if you go to this link, but most importantly, you will get credit, because when you spend $30, you'll get $30 back, and whatever store that you're shopping at, depending on the cash back that they're giving right now, you'll get that percentage back as well. It's legit. I've used this for years. Think about it like this. Support my channel through the link by buying whatever you want online. It's a pretty good deal, right? Let's get back to the video. After looking at this data, I was curious to see how closely it would line up with the simple rating system, or SRS score for short. Perhaps you've heard of this before, but just in case you haven't, this rating takes into account a team's average point differential, or margin of victory, and their strength of schedule throughout the season. The rating is denominated in points above or below average, where 0 is average. So in layman's terms, it'll tell you how good a team is, as the best teams each season are usually near or at the top of this list. So if we made a list of each championship team's path to a ring since 1984, ranked by their 4 opponents' combined SRS scores, we'd be able to determine just how difficult their path was. Take the 95 Rockets again, for example. They had the most difficult path to a championship in terms of strength of their opponent's seed, and they also had the most difficult path to a ring in terms of their opponent's combined SRS score as well, with the 3-seed Jazz, 2-seed Suns, 1-seed Spurs, and 1-seed Magic totaling a score of 23.96. Now, how far down this list would we have to go to find the combined SRS score of the 2023 Denver Nuggets opponents? All the way to the bottom. So yes, that means technically, according to the data, that the 2023 Nuggets had the easiest path to a championship since the 16-team playoff format was put in place in 1984. I'm going to place a screenshot of the top and bottom of each list. First by opponent seeding, then by SRS score, and if you want to take a closer look, you can go ahead and pause the video on these. But you'll notice that there isn't a direct correlation in terms of opponent seed and strength of opponent, with the notable exceptions coming directly at the top with the 95 Rockets and directly at the bottom with the 2023 Nuggets. Now, the 95 Rockets played the toughest competition in terms of seeding and SRS score, and they took them down. And conversely, the Nuggets played the easiest competition in terms of seeding and SRS score, and they took them down. But hey, you can only play who's in front of you, right? Now, before I get a bunch of comments about how I'm hating on the Nuggets' first championship in franchise history, I'll be the first to say that while these numbers are a good indicator of competition, they can also mislead if you don't consider other factors that were at play for Denver's opponents in the 2023 playoffs, and I gotta say, there were a lot of them. Sure, the numbers will tell you that this was the easiest path to a ring, but they can't tell you the health or lack thereof of their opponents throughout the regular season that contributed to low SRS scores and seeding. Minnesota was without Karl Anthony Towns for 53 games this season. The Timberwolves just started to gel as a team near the end of the year until they didn't. Still, this was a team led by Towns and Anthony Edwards, not to mention a team that also added a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert that ended up posing absolutely no threat whatsoever to Nikola Jokic in their 5-game first-round series. Then they had to face a Suns team who started the year slow and was without their top scorer Devin Booker in 29 games this season, once again due to injury. Phoenix decided to completely revamp the roster at the trade deadline by bringing in Kevin Durant, who then proceeded to play only 8 regular season games with the team due to injury. The 2.08 SRS score, good for just 9th in the league and number 4 seed in the West, does not at all represent the all-NBA and all-star level talent on the Suns roster that the Nuggets had to face in the playoffs, and yet they never trailed in that series despite a historic offensive masterclass from Booker, added firepower from Durant, and a Suns owner who knew that the only way to stop Jokic was to keep him from having the ball. Denver then faced a team that, similar to Phoenix, couldn't be quantified by their SRS score and seed because of the massive moves they made to their roster at the trade deadline that completely revamped them from one that began the season 2-10 to one that ousted the defending champs in the second round. And I never heard anyone say that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are an easy out, but once again, Denver made them look like that with their conference finals sweep. And I don't think I've got to go through this again with Miami. You know, this is a team who decided to wake up in the postseason with their star players showing shades of MJ and their role players turning into versions of prime Ray Allen from deep. But Jokic wrapped up this series and shook everyone's hand like it was another day at the office because, hey, the faster he could get the job done, the faster he could return home to his horses. Are you still not at all, at least slightly impressed by the 2023 Nuggets run to a championship? Well, here are some numbers that work in the Nuggets' favor. Out of the past 39 champions, Denver is one of 19 that didn't face elimination at any point in the playoffs. They faced multiple All-Stars and All-NBA players and sent them home without trailing in a single playoff series and without needing a Game 7. Since being tied 2-2 versus Phoenix in the semis, they finished the playoffs 10-1 and went 16-4 overall in the postseason. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic became the first duo ever to record 30-point triple-doubles in the same game, and they did it on the biggest stage in Game 3 of the finals. Their averages in their first NBA Finals as a duo rivaled and even eclipsed those of Shaq and Kobe in their first finals. And it took Nikola Jokic just 20 games to become the postseason's all-time leader in points, rebounds, and assists. If Denver ever gets all their guys healthy, that's been a statement echoed over the past couple of years. Well, we now know what they're capable of, and for a young group of guys like this, they're likely just getting started. And I'll be back with another episode of Topic Tackle coming soon. As always, stay solid, people.